Assalamu alaikum. That means peace be unto you. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Welcome to this edition of Liberated Sisters on the Closing the Gap Network, the Closing the Gap Broadcast Network. And I am very honored to be speaking with you today because of who we are bringing to enrich us. We have for our first segment Sister Christina Muhammad. She is with the 10,000 Fearless of Austin, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself as well as what is the 10,000 Fearless? How did it come about? And this dialogue is centered on disaster preparedness. Are we ready? There's a lot of talk about it, as there should be. And so Sister Christina is here to add valuable information to the dialogue. By the way, before we bring in Sister Christina, I would like to remind us that the Nation of Islam Staple Goods Project from the Ministry of Agriculture is taking orders now. Everyone can order beans, rice, honey, there's seasonings, there's wheat flour, whole wheat flour, and other products that you can find specifically on the site. If there's something that I mentioned that is not there, charge it to me. It may be a misunderstanding, but we've purchased a lot of these items in the past. So it's NOIMOA.org. Thank you, Dr. Ridgely and Sister Ann Muhammad, for helping, as well as all of the coordinators for the Ministry of Agriculture Staple Goods Project, for all your hard work in bringing that to us. So now we would like to add to our program Sister Christina Muhammad of the 10,000 Fearless. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, beloved. How are you?
I'm doing very good, especially now seeing your beautiful face, Sister Christina. It always brings me so much joy. And I thank Allah for you, your husband, Brother Reginald, and all of your team.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Every time I see you, you're working, you're rolling on some rollerblades across the nation, trying to get us some timely messages. So thank you for being a helper and a servant in the cause of Islam for our father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Allahu Akbar. Sister Christina, is it not a privilege? Let's just talk about that for a minute. One, to know who he is, to know his name. Number two, that he has taught us and is teaching us about the true and living God, and trying to do everything we can every day to make people aware of him. It's such a privilege. It's a privilege. I have taken that
Come on.
for granted in the past. Not anymore. And I know I have. Oh, Allah, thank you for sparing my life. But go ahead. Let me not get into Charleneism. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what is the 10,000 Fearless?
Man, praise be to Allah. So, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is only one God who appeared to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is indeed the exalted Christ, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a divine reminder, comforter, leader, teacher, warner, guide in our midst. I want to greet you with the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. And I definitely had to open up in the name of Allah, because there would not be a Sister Christina or a 10,000 Fearless to even start this conversation. So I definitely have to give that props to that man who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, the first responder. Now we got to really look at that now. The first responder. How do you say that, Sister Christina? What are you talking about?
I love how that sounds.
Himself. Come on. He came by himself to save a people that which were lost, man. And this is what we're going to get into as we talk a little bit about this disaster preparedness. Because it is because he came that you and I may have this platform, sister, to be able to even conversate. So all praises belong to Allah. But with that being said, my name is Sister Christina Muhammad. I am the coordinator for the 10,000 Fearless First Responders. Now, look, let me make it very clear. I thank Allah. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has some wonderful, great helpers in the cause across this great, mighty nation that we have. But I thank Allah for our dear brother, Abdul Sharif. the student minister, the regional minister, Abdul Sharif Muhammad, for
That's
him
right.
listening and having that keen ear to be
Mm,
able to listen for any instructions that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will put out. I don't care
mm,
how small the sentence is or how whatever we think it may be, anything that he says, that he desires, that he wants, is an instruction for us to get up and make it happen.
that's
But
right.
our regional
Mm,
student, Mr. Abdul Sharif Muhammad, the great, great brother, him listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan 10, 10, 15. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that I want 10,000 fearless. But I always say it's not just the who, what, when, where, how, and why. I want 10,000 fearless men and women. And there's so many of us. There may be some plumbers, right? There may be some this and that. He didn't just say what type. He said, I want 10,000 fearless. So by him listening and being obedient to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he stood up and he started calling for the 10,000 fearless well, not just first responders, but 10,000 fearless men and women. Now, as far as me, myself, and my team, we had started off with disaster preparedness. I want to say 2009. And at that point, says we were called the Inner City Emergency Response Team. And we did that. We went in and out of the communities and we sought our people out and we went in to listen to find out what was the need, but to teach
mhm,
and train our beautiful people, right? To
mhm,
teach and train them how to be prepared for a disaster. So we
mm,
started going into apartment complex and we started training up ourselves. I never would forget this, sister. We used to walk 55.5 miles
ooh,
every single year. For
mm,
those of you that know where Galveston, Texas is, my team, we walked from Galveston, Texas, and we were finished in the fifth ward. I believe it was the fifth ward in Houston, Texas. So we started off Friday night, way night at the beach, and we walked night and day, going into
mm,
saying something that we will travel on foot if we have to
mm.
save our people. Now I
Wow.
think about Master Father Muhammad. He traveled 9,000 miles by himself. Now, come on, we're not talking about the equivalency of that 9,000 mile equaling 1 hour on that craft. But
Mm,
9,000 miles, that's a long, that's a lot. So that
wow.
little 55.5 mile that we did every single year, it was a journey. But we had to prove the point that we will travel on foot if we have to
Mm,
save and rescue our people. So with
oh,
that being said, going in from the inner city emergency response team,
mm,
then it was 10, 10, 15, where the minister said, I'm looking for 10,000 fearless. Right then and there, it was like, wait a minute, it's not the inner city emergency response team, it's the 10,000 fearless first responders. That is exactly how we changed the name. And the idea was the same, to rescue our people. But now we have the voice of the man himself, Jesus himself, to give us instructions how to go in the inner city and save our people. And that is what we have been doing, dear sister, since 2008. All praises belong to Allah.
wow. Yes, it does. Sister Christina, thank you so much. And thank you all for commenting there in the chat. Please feel free to post your question for her there, which she's taking your questions as well. I saw too that um, yeah, when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made that call, and also for Justice Rios, that was really so poignant.
Yeah.
You talk about going into the community, which, by the way, he certainly has led us there, hasn't he?
Come
Like,
on now.
and to see the images, which as later on, I'll try to get some of those when Minister Farrakhan will be interacting with our people, just
Yeah.
the babies and the mothers and the brothers that he
Come
would
on.
be holding and hugging and talking to and shaking their hands. It's what we have to do, and it is the example of how we also can save ourselves, but we cannot
Mhm.
leave our people out there in a way such as I saw in an article you talked about the distress with Hurricane Katrina.
Mm.
Would you talk about enlighten us on what it takes to be
Mm.
to go out and serve, because sometimes having the heart and the desire and the will to do it, is that enough?
Come on. Come on. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful question.
Mm,
Our dear minister said it best when we had our national training 2019, and I'm paraphrasing. He did mention, he said that it's not every day, disaster preparedness, someone running into the fire while many other are running away from the fire. It takes the courage, it takes being fearless, right? And that's why he asked for the correct term, fearless. I need 10,000 fearless men and women to go in to do whatever it is that you may do. And this thing is something, dear sister, honestly, because any type of disaster, it is just that. It can be very scary. You don't know what you're going into. And I remember myself and my team, some of our members had went up to the Bahamas. We flew down to Florida, dear sister. And this is a story that really is not out there. We really haven't had an opportunity to share it pretty much with anybody, our Bahamas trips, but I would love one day to share it. But literally going in to save our people with this devastation, this huge hurricane that took place down there. I remember we actually flown down there to Florida, and then we actually took a yacht. Now, think about this. We took a yacht, beautiful, beautiful yacht. But this yacht wasn't so beautiful to be hitting 25-foot waves in the ocean after a hurricane. I knew right then and there, dear sister, that I love my people. Good Lord have mercy. When I was on that yacht and I was like, all praises belong to Allah. Allah, please protect us, myself and my team, and everybody that's coming along with us. So you have to, there's going to be times when you're going to look at it, you're going to say, oh, Allah, I pray that my life be spared while going in to work. It's a serious situation, and you really have to have a fearless bone in your body, and not just that, but the love of our people. We think about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and what it is that he has been doing for so many years. We say, my prayer, my sacrifice is all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. And the minister has just said, it is what it is. You take me if you must. But I love my people. And these days, we can't just say it. It's actions that speak louder than words. So wait a minute, this sister. Wait a minute, team. You will come over in a yacht, and you don't know if the yacht's gonna capsize to go over to this huge devastation. But Allah brought us through. And those are the moments that you look and you want to share your testimony on what that looked like, how you may have lost your life, but that wasn't even in our minds, because the minister has given us instructions to go out and save our people. Now, sis, to go on this side of it, in order to be able to do that, you have to believe and trust in Almighty God yourself. You have to believe and trust who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and who the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is. You got to understand Scripture. When Scripture said that he will send one that will tell you what to store in your home, you would have to understand that all of those things in the Bible, those doomsday things that took place, are true and are happening today. Because if you don't, then you're not going to be able to move out. So before myself and my husband, Brother Reginald, before we can move out anywhere, we have to make sure that our homes are locked down. Are we prepared? Do we have our documents together? Do we have food? Do we have water? Do we have the necessary things that we need? Because you can't help no one unless you help yourself. So I pray that answers that question.
yes, yes, you did. Yes, you did. People are checking in that they're watching. Sister Christina, thank you for that, because we are instructed on that. And I'll take the opportunity to say again, noimoa.org, to order some of the staple goods projects. There's a question for you. Let me get to it. Thank you all for tuning in and spread the word. This question is from Brother Chad Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, Sudi Minister Chad. I forgot to say it. Thank you so much to Closing the Gap Broadcast Network, Student Minister James, Student Minister Chad, Student Managing Editor of the Final Call newspaper, Sister Starla, for anchoring our mother show here in the network and providing a place for all of us who are a part of it to bring information to ourselves and our people. He asked, what's some of the biggest misconceptions about disaster preparedness?
Oh man, that is not going to touch me and mine. Right? I'm good. I'm safe. I'm a Muslim, this, that, the other, but it's not going to touch me. That is one of the biggest. Another biggest, and thank you, brother, for that question. Another big misconception, that we have looking at disaster preparedness. I always say this is not one of the best um, courses, things when it comes to events. This may not be one of the biggest things that we really want to go to. Why? Because if you think about survival, the Black man and woman, we have been surviving. Every single day is a survival. Think about everybody on this call. When you woke up this morning, what were you thinking about? I got to get up. I got to go to work. I got to pay these bills. I am just surviving. Well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that if you're just surviving, that you're not living, and we have not gotten there yet. So we're so tired of surviving. I don't want to hear nobody talking to me about survival anymore. I am surviving enough. What does that look like? Are we really surviving enough? What is enough when it comes to survival? Well, you got to think about disaster preparedness on all levels. Some of us say, well, I live in California, so I may not get snow like that. Or I live in Texas and I don't get earthquakes. Well, I have to tell you, I live here in Texas, and my husband and I are doing digging for information. We found out that we live on a fault line. So we in Texas though, right? So we don't get earthquakes. So you have to be able to look in your neighborhood. And this is the understanding when it comes to disaster preparedness. When Allah is ready, he will bring on whatever it is that he needs. Understanding this, these are not just storms. These are not just nature or forces. These are guided forces, guided storms. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said they're not just mere storms. So you and I have to get that out of our minds that we're going to be okay. We got it. Allah got it. That's nothing different than going to the altar and say you just say your sins right now. You going home and you're saved.
And just sitting
there. Just sit there. Prophet Muhammad said you pray, but what? You better tie that camel, because you can pray all day long, but you may wake up and Franklin of the camel may be gone somewhere. So you better tie that camel. And that's the same thing.
Yeah, going to the hills. Listen, Mr. Christina, you're so right. And thank you for your question, Brother Chad, because we had, as is common knowledge for many, but those of you who do not know, we had not only Hurricane Hillary here that did much damage, much downpour. I mean, to the fact that not just that hurricane, but other storms that reversed the drought condition, according to weather experts here, or so-called experts. But not only that, there was an earthquake in the middle.
My gosh.
There's a fault line through the country, by the way. But go ahead, sis.
Come on. You're right. That you're absolutely right, sis. So that's where you and I we have to be able to prepare. I always say prepare for any and everything, right? I can't just say I'm in Texas, let me just prepare for a drought. I'm gonna get all the water I can, and that's just it. I'm gonna prepare because it's gonna be hot. Well, brothers and sisters, any of those things, if Allah is guiding these storms, if Allah is behind the force of any of these storms and the nature and global warming and all those things that the people love to say, so just they won't have to say Allah, just go ahead and just say Allah, right? He is controlling it. But we have to be able to say, I don't know what Allah will hit my community with. So let me study those things that are out there. Because if you all, I want you to think about it. Every time you turn that television on right now, today, it's disaster after disaster after disaster. We look at Libya, we look at Morocco, we look at those places and we say, oh my God, who would have
Wow.
thought about that? Like, what?
Yeah, yeah. Sister Christina, speaking of
Yes.
which, Libya, I just saw recently that, okay, there's thousands upon thousands dead, but now they're saying diseases set in.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. It's not just when it comes to disaster, we think in our minds just weather. See,
Mhm.
COVID just took us for a whole nother whirlwind. The
Yeah.
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, you got this thing that's the unseen. See, we're taught to believe in the what? The unseen. See, COVID was unseen, but it's those things that are unseen that you and I got to think about. And this is why the beautiful part about this is that we have a guide. Listen to this, y'all. We have a guide that is guiding us. And if we would just listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he has not turned us away yet. There is no lie. There's not a lie that anybody can say that that man or the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, can't nobody say that there is a lie. We have the guides and also God himself that is telling us what it is that we need to look forward to. You prepare for any and everything, but the biggest thing, brothers and sisters, it's not just are you going to escape and how you're going to escape, but all those things can happen to you. But if we don't have prayer, if we don't know the Rabbil Alamin, if we don't know Allah for ourselves, those things, I don't care how many beans you have, I don't care how many cases of water you have, if you are not one with Allah, because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us, he said, you know what? I can't promise you that you're not going to get a hickey. I can't promise you that some of you are not going to go to jail. All of these things that he can't promise. So when you look at something like that, we got to study and we got to pray and we got to fast. We got to get our discipline and know Allah. So when you hear Allah, you can hear him in a sign. You can hear Allah in a whirlwind. You can hear Allah and just walking out your porch and seeing that it's dark outside and saying, I better turn back around because the skies don't look good enough for me to come out there right now. As a believer, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we have the truth. And he said, the truth shall set or make us free, brothers and sisters. So when it comes to disaster preparedness, there are so many disasters that you and I must be prepared for.
Wow. Praise be to Allah. Preach, preacher. That's what they would say in church. We have a comment for you here, and then I'll ask a question after that. But uh, is it Kente Russell says, Assalamu alaikum, family. I'm just sick and tired of just surviving.
Woo!
I believe disaster preparedness is proof that our Savior is getting us ready to secure ourselves for the removal of the negative forces that keeps us just surviving and not truly living our true purpose. Thanks. Thank you for your comment. What do you think about that, Sister Christina?
Thank you for saying that, my brother. Thank you. I want to read something to us that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke about. Because here it is, we're talking about disaster preparedness, right? But what are we preparing for, brothers and sisters? I must remind us something that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan read. He said, Allah says in the Holy Quran that he is the master of the day of judgment. Why should there even be a judgment? When you get a judgment, it means a judge has rendered a decision. Judgment, according to the dictionary, is the ability to judge, to make a decision or form an opinion objectively, authoritatively, and wisely, especially in matters affecting actions. Good sense, discretion, misfortune, regarded as afflicted by divine sentence, is also a judgment. also the last judgment, the final trial of all mankind, both the living and the dead, at the end of the world. When we're talking about judgment, in this case, we're talking about God forming a decision that comes down against America and against this world. God has sent down his decision. His intention is to total destruction of America. The question is America good, and by what standard? If America has exceeded the limits, then somebody has to make God's decision known. Publish the decision. There is no appeal, but there is a way to get out from it. It is very narrow. It is very limited, but you can avoid it. What is your position, black man? That's what I'm asking, brother, right? What is your position, the minister said? In this judgment, whether you know it or know it not, you, black man and woman, that's me saying black man and woman, but you are the reason why God is judging America, even as it is in ancient Egypt. It was Pharaoh's mistreatment of the children of Israel that caused God's appearance and his judgment. It was the Hebrews and Babylon, their presence and their mistreatment, that caused God's judgment of Babylon. It is your mistreatment at the hands of white people that has God to send down his judgment on America. Take it or let it alone. It is you and I are the reason that God's judgment is on America, brothers and sisters. And this is what you and I have to understand. Somebody said it earlier in the chat. It's going to get worse. We haven't seen nothing yet. The Quran talks about the baby's hair turning gray. We haven't even seen that yet. I may be a baby. I'm 47 years old, but I got some gray hairs up in there, y'all. It's already turning gray. But how about our little bitty babies coming fresh out the womb? So much trauma when you see what God is going to bring down America for you and I. But my thing is, if he's bringing down and he has a judgment on America for you and I, then what will you and I do? It's just like we used to be in the schools and we used to do fire drills. This is where we are today. If we stay humble and if we stay obedient to Almighty God Allah and listen, everything, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that everything when it comes to our escape route, everything has been planned and set for you and I when you and I were sleeping. You got to know that. You got to trust it and believe it. All praises belong to Allah.
My God.
I hope I answered that question there, brother.
Brother, did he? Look, I got the answer, but did you get the answer? Let me see what here it is. Have to make sure we are prayed up and found being upright. Thank you for your comment and your questions for her. Keep them coming. Sister, man, you are teaching so, I mean, the information is just like shooting all over, popping off thoughts. You know, this reminds me of student minister Dr. Ava Muhammad carrying the banner for she was, may Allah be pleased with her, the national spokesperson for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And as she said throughout the country on the tour that she went through, should Blacks consider separation? You know, from what I say and read of the minister and your thoughts about it, your words about it, it's like we could be healed and free and rid of all of this if we would just, you know, move out on what we've been given. Overnight.
Yes, absolutely. You know, sis, I used to wonder, why did it say that we will be forced to come together? I didn't understand that until I tried to take a stand to separate from this enemy and realize that we're not ready yet. We don't have 100%. 100% dissatisfaction brings about 100% change. We're not there yet. Inshallah, we're getting there. And our leader, teaching guide, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he's saying, look, come on, come out of her, my people, that you may not be partakers of her sins, because we already know her sins have reached the heavens. Look at all this stuff that's going on. What do you mean it's reached the heavens? Well, it's going down from the heavens in the sky, right? And it's pulling down them clouds. It's pulling down that water. It's pulling down them dancing women that the minister says about that when it comes to tornadoes. It's up
Ooh,
in the sky.
ooh,
So
right.
oh Allah, all praises
All the
belong to
fires,
Allah. Yes.
fires that are literally, people are saying that they're linking up. It's like
Oh,
they're grabbing hands
come
across
on.
freeways and
Come
just
on.
rolling down hills so fast.
Yes.
Very animate, very animate. When people have been talking about the disasters, they're speaking of these various disasters in
Yes.
human form, you
Come
know.
on.
This is something, Sister Christine, and I have some of the shots as we were talking about earlier,
Yes.
everyone. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan leading the men and
Come
leading
on.
leading us into the streets to care for our
Come on.
people. And
Come
Sister
on.
Christina started out talking about some of the work and
Yes.
there in the South and how they became or renamed the 10,000 Fearless. So, Sister Christina, I'm going to come up and show some of those pictures now.
Yes.
And again, put your questions for her in the chat. What I want to know is, okay, Sister Christina, and think about this one to the answer after we show some of the pictures.
Yes.
Where does one start, to get themselves in order if they feel that, so much is happening now? Some
Yes.
people may be thinking all hope is lost.
Come on.
That the community centers, the shelters, or warming stations, or food
Ooh.
lines may be there.
Come
I'm
on.
talking about people who are believers as well as those who are in our community
Yes.
who despite all of the talk about
Mm-hmm.
disaster preparedness may be retreating
Come on.
because it's such a big magnitude, or they may be comparing themselves to others who may have it together or appear to have it together, or just in the everyday hustle and bustle, as we
Come
talked
on.
about, to survive.
Yes.
So would you address that? And then here's a question
Yes.
for people who want to go into the community: where should they start?
Praise be to Allah. All righty. So I'm going to answer that now, I take it. So praise belong to Allah. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given us our set of instructions already. And listening every single Sunday, if you have not, please tune in to NOI.org. Brother Student Minister National Representative, Brother Ishmael Muhammad is tearing up the microphones. He is talking about how to survive on
Yeah.
a faith-based level, on a physical level. We talking about these planes that are up in the sky. All praises belong to Allah. Everything is set. Right now, what you and I should be doing is going back into our homes and assessing the scene there. Talk to your families. First and foremost, some of our families, we don't even get along. We have a problems with our mother saying, claiming Allah. It is time for us to atone. Because without the atonement, brothers and sisters, there is not any quarreling that will be going on. When this thing happens, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when you see that mother plane in the skies, he said, look, he said, make haste and run. But where are you running to? We are brothers and sisters, and you and I have teachings and training, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is talking about love. So, Sister Charlene, start there. Sister Charlene, we start there with love. Our minister is teaching us every step of the way. He said we got to have love. Where there is love, you and I can make it to higher heights. When you love yourself, when you love your family, when you love God, you can love your community in the mosque. You therefore can love your communities that's in the streets. Our brothers and sisters are waiting in the streets, and they're saying, where's coming for my help? They know the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is there. They know he is sent. But where are the baby Farrakhans? Where are we at? What are we telling the people in the community? To hold on. Hold on for what? What are we talking about? Our brother said that he's tired of talking about survival. He's ready to live. Well, guess what? All of us are ready to live, but knowing how to live is the question. We've got to get through the survival part so we can live. This is why we're taught that some will get to the door of the hereafter and what? Turn away. Well, what would make thee turn away? The faith and the love for Almighty God Allah and for the beautiful people that are in the community. Remember, it's not just you and I, brothers, that are in the mosque. It's also those that are in the church. It's also those that are in the community, those that are in this nation. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has grown from just a narrow version of just there for Black people. That man is a man of humanity. That man is a man that is a warner to this whole entire world. All praises belong to Allah. So we listen. We become baby Farrakhan's. We watch what he does and we go out there in the streets and we do exactly what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is teaching us to do. So where do you start then? If you're in the mosque, go to your class on Saturday. Go to your class on Monday. Heed the instruction. Get your instruction because we are we are building up. We're preparing. We're lifting weights so we can be ready to go out there to help save our people. That's where we start.
Praise oh my God. This is so beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Someone similar to Sister Christina. We don't compare, but I know she's just as hard a soldier, as beautiful a soldier. Sister Danielle X Perkins. She's going to be coming in the second part of our show today, talking about silent crime. See, going into our community to help those women and girls and even boys who are sex trafficked, abused, robbed, who are assaulted. So stay with us. She's going to be joining us a little bit later. Oh, and Big Brother Sultan is ever at work, of course, thus he would have been here with us. But Sister Christina, thank you so much for sharing that. Let's talk about some of the certification training that you all do. Here, let's make sure. Okay, let's get a comment for you before we do that. Brother Gregory says, thank you, Brother Gregory Muhammad. All praises are due to Allah for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Yes, indeed, because we would be nowhere, not even a thought, But talk about some of the certification that you all do as we think about disaster preparedness and survival.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you for that, dear sister. There is a lot. So number one that I am definitely going to talk about, brothers and sisters, is communication. If you think about Libya, if you've been following Libya, one of the biggest cries there is there are thousands of people that have died, but there are also people that are there, but they don't have the communications to even find their loved one. Ask yourself right now, if something was to happen right now, how will you communicate? We learned that 10, 10, 15. I'm going to tell you 10, 10, 15. I remember they shut them towers down. We thought we was using the phones. They shut them towers down. Don't you know that it's just a click of the button to shut our communications down?
There would
be no more. Come on now. I know a lot of people out there can bear witness. And if you do, go ahead and click it on the chat.
Come on.
So it's dealing with that, our communication. So we have to learn about communication and how to communicate when the phones are down, when the internet is down. So we have our training, our brother Paul Muhammad, he's out of Atlanta, beautiful, beautiful brother. He works hard, tirelessly when it comes to communication. He building all kind of communication boxes, and he has communication trainings all over this great nation. Find my brother and listen to my brother. Get your ham radios. Brothers and sisters, it is not hard. I believe I've had my ham radio now for about 15 years. If I can do it, you can do it. I promise, word is bond. But I know that I want to communicate. So I went out and I got my communication and I made sure my family did exactly what it is. If you don't get a chance to get your ham radios, then guess what? You don't need to be certified to be able to operate a ham radio during a disaster. We just got to learn what that looks like, how to communicate, how to reach out into the stratosphere, into the tower. So communication is one of the classes that we actually teach and train. Search and rescue is another one. You know, I used to always say I used to hate it when we had those alerts and the milk carton and this child is lost and this person is lost and this person lost their parent due to dementia. How do we find the Muhammad children? How do we find the Muhammad families? How do we find the people in our community? I promise you, and I bear witness that it takes the Lord have mercy. Anytime you say somebody is lost, they want you to wait 24 hours before you can go in and try to start searching. So you're giving them a whole day to go in and get into a whole nother country before you find your mother, sister, daughter, brother. Don't nobody want to do that. So we have to be able to learn what those steps look like ourselves so we can move, not 24 hours. My FOI is ready to go as soon as Mama Teresa said, my baby, they won't even let her get it out in her mouth. The FOI will be out there in the community searching for that baby. This is where we teach on search and rescue. Fires. Yes,
I think you are striking all the nerves with me. Thank Allah for what you're saying. What are some of the steps to do? Like, are you able to share? Because as of late, there are so many missing persons. We just wrote an article for the Final Call in Cleveland. So many children went missing. Black people, not just children, but the numbers were really big in the first 2 weeks of May. So, what would you say are important steps in the early moments of someone going missing in search and rescue?
Thank you. Thank you for that question again. It's communication. Knowing if someone is asking for help, you make haste and run and get to that individual or that family. You find out all the information you can. You go out and you get a search team. Where were they last? What were they wearing? This, that, and you find as much information as you can, and you start exactly where they were found last, and you and your group of team, you go out in the highways and byways and you walk and you stand. It's so interesting. When we went and got trained, you stand in a whole single file line, and if you got miles to walk, you walk as a force and you're looking for every possible clue you can. Now, this is important because you don't want to go and start moving things around, because you can be moving evidence. But it's all about communication and being ready to move out. And you go, you remember how we used to do it back in the day? Every brother and sister loved to play hide and seek, some form of fashion. So it's like you're going in, you're looking for hide and seek. All those things that we used to play, I have to find this particular child, this particular mother, this particular whomever, because they're not in clear view. So I have to be able to look carefully, but communication and moving out and moving to a whole area and cover the whole area and continue covering the area until you can do what you do. Some of the teams that I actually see, they'll go out for an hour and say, well, we're going to call it a day. You haven't done anything yet. Keep going. You've got to get a second group, a third group, a fourth group. If we're going to make way to find, then we have to continue to work and not work and stop. If a child is missing, every mother should think in their mind, man, what if that was my child? So we give our time and consideration, and we go and help as if it is our child that's missing or children that are missing.
Wow, that's that love word that you reminded us from Minister Farrakhan.
Right.
Love. Thank you. Thank you. And
yes.
You were going to, I think your next word, you had said fire.
Yes, absolutely. Fires, how to put out a fire. You know, being in your home. That doesn't mean you have to work for the fire department, but some of us have that little fire extinguisher under a cabinet and we don't even know how to use it. Think about how many of those fires that we had in our home. Is it ABC? Am I using C? What type of fire extinguisher am I using? You should be able to have an understanding. What can I do? How will I be able to learn about it? Just go and pull up Google and learn. Get you an ABC and use it. And whatever you have, any type of fires that you may have, just be able to use the fire extinguisher. If you're in a restaurant, what type do you need? You can pull Google and you can learn about all those different fire extinguishers that you have. So we teach and train fires. And I promise you, Our youngest, I never forget, in California, I think she was maybe 3 or 4. She was our youngest, and she went in, she held the fire extinguisher, and she operated it, and she did what she had to do, and she was ready. And that's how I really, really like to have it like that. Don't never underestimate your children. Don't never underestimate and say our babies don't know how, or we don't know who. Those babies will really, really surprise you. So you have to be able to teach the children what to do and how to do it, and watch. They will be able to grasp it really, really easy. Let's go into physical. Let's go into the first aid. We're looking at first aid. Hey, if you got a cut, some of us have some ailments. Some of us have diabetes. Well, what's going to happen if somebody falls and goes into, slip? You don't want anybody to go into a diabetic coma. Some of us have asthma. What do I do when it comes to, making sure we can save somebody? So then we look at psychological first aid, is what I like to call it. So if you get there, you got somebody, you on the scene, and you got somebody yelling and screaming because they have so much trauma. I can't find my mom. I can't find my daughter. Oh my God, help me. That's psychological first aid. That's trauma. What are you going to go and tell that mother who can't find her child? Oh, I understand. Do you really understand? There are some do's and don'ts and wills and won'ts when it comes to speaking to people, when it comes to psychological trauma. And we don't understand. Some may call it Dianetics. I just like to call it, on this first responder piece of it, psychological first aid, because it's a lot when you're talking to. You got to know who you're talking to. And that will actually help you understand who you're dealing with, because you're dealing with people who are in who's afraid, right? You ever been afraid before? So you have people that are afraid. So those are a lot. Food, when it comes to food, I have a dear sister that she works with the food. So, you're canning all of your food. As you see back there, I do have some of my canned items. If you're canning your food, because the MGT, we've been busy. We are told to can until we can't no more. Praise be to Allah. So when you're canning, when you're putting your food all in your homes, then what's going to take place, brothers and sisters, when you have to leave on foot? What's going to happen when you have to relocate and you lose everything? We know we better go. We better get the staple goods that our sister was talking about. They got some beautiful seeds. I grow a lot of my food with staple good seeds. And I'm telling you, now they got some wheat seeds I was looking at. I said, Allahu Akbar. But
Yeah.
food disaster preparedness is important, because now you got to know, what can I eat when I don't have any more canned items? I couldn't take all of my canned items. So now all I have is this bag of seeds. What can I grow? There's something called microgreens. Our dear sister talked about it in Atlanta when we went. You got to know what that looks like. How do you grow it? How long does it take? How
Yeah.
long can it do? Can you do some broccoli microgreens, and how long it take? A week, 2 weeks, and you can be eating? It
Wow.
goes down
Wow.
to our fasting. So
That's
all these different things that we talk about,
mm,
now it's time for us to put it all together. And then of course we know self-defense. We got to be able to prepare and
mm.
protect ourselves. So much, sister, so many more. I'm looking at these pictures that you're posting. It's just like a whole bunch of memories.
Yeah,
Praise
that's
be
your
to
LA
you.
team. I think you had the LA graduates you mentioned. First of all, thank you for
Yes,
what you just shared. Thank
yes,
you so much. And NOIMOA.org to order
yes,
staple goods projects. It
yes.
opened on the 17th, but the closing date for ordering is October 1st. And as Dr. originally
Ooh,
mentioned,
yes.
you and Sister Ann, they did 2 presentations with us. This is
Ooh,
open to everyone. This is
yes,
open to your neighbors, your family. It's not just for registered members of the Nation of Islam. And he had said once before in an interview with us that, the things that these are not things that you're going to be able to have readily,
right.
bags of beans and bags of rice and different things like that.
Yes,
Those things that you're going to have close to home, it's like sister's mentioning with the produce, tomatoes, certain things you need to grow instead of having them in distribution and
yes,
long ways where they have to be sprayed or what have you. But NOI dot M what NOIMOA.org to order. And Sister Christina, yeah, you mentioned the young person in I think it was Los Angeles, or the children generally, but
hmm,
is when you had certification in Los Angeles,
yes,
and this was one of you. You all were in action here.
Yes.
Wow, look at that. All
That
of
was the
you.
search and rescue. I never would forget there was a man there, and you see all the rubble. That was a home that was there. And I never forget one of the areas we went to, a man was combing all the rubble looking for a little truck. And I remember my husband asked him like something like, "What are you looking for?" He said, "This is all my baby is asking for. He just wants his little truck." We
Oh,
would be surprised that the smallest thing of the most they hold more memories than the big. He wasn't talking about the house, all
yeah,
that rubble. He just wanted his baby to be
truck.
happy with
Yeah.
his little red truck. I
Peace
said,
of
"Oh,
mind. Look at that. Did y'all find
yeah."
the truck? Did the truck come up? Mm,
It didn't come up. It
okay.
didn't come up.
You know, I'm a crybaby girl. Let me move.
I know. But we would be amazed. And there in California, I mean, homes were just
Yes.
demolished.
Yeah.
It was absolutely, and we drove around the rubble, we worked in it, and I just say, I thank Allah for sparing us to this part this day. And this
Mm.
makes me to want to continue to learn more and go out and teach our people so he can look at the sin and throw it into the sea of forgetfulness. I want to work. We got to work.
Yes, we do. While
We
it
got to
is day.
work.
While it is day. Sister
Wow.
Christina, look,
Yes,
here's a
ma'am.
comment. Thank you for your comment, Michael J. Muhammad. Wow, look at that. Yeah, look at that. You know, there were mansions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember seeing one family just standing there, and they finally just turned around and walked downhill,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, in the Laguna area. What
Yeah.
what does it take? And I'll show some more slides. Tell me what it takes for you all to get on the ground, whether you're in your southern area or not, you know, because you did talk about the boat ride, and
Woo.
that's something else. But
Yes.
what all does it take? Because sometimes it could look easy, and we know it's not.
No,
We know
no.
it's not.
Right. It takes a lot. It takes resources. And that's why working in your community is so important. I thank Allah for my community because the community shows love and you have to be worthy of help, because we work not just because when there's a disaster we get to work, but we work in 24/7, showing ourselves to be worthy. And when you show yourself to be worthy, then you have people that will fly you up. You have people that will give you gas money to get to a city to do whatever it is that you have to do. It's just the work. And going through all of those things, those are people that invite us up. Literally, people fly us up. People give us gas and say, "Hey, we need you to come down to do a training." And and I'm gonna be honest with you, I thank Allah for the opportunity now. But I love to travel. I love to go. Someone said, "When and where is the next training?" It's where you are, dear sister. Where are you? That's where the next training is gonna be. But anywhere that our nation, where our nation is, that's exactly where we go to teach and train us. But also we host our own trainings as well. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of money, y'all. This is not cheap. And a lot of us, a lot of our teams, sometimes we do come out of our pockets. I'm gonna be honest with you. We come out of our pockets because you
Wow.
gotta love to be able to do that. And
Wow.
it's not free. So if somebody say we need your help or a disaster took place, what we gonna say? You won't have to pay when you lay. No, we're gonna have to get up there if
Wow.
there are no funds available. If we are, as I say,
Yeah.
Jesus' team. See, Jesus don't need no payments, Sister Charlotte. Jesus would just work and the love will move, and whatever that next paycheck come from, then I'll see you there to
You
see
get
you back
there.
in the seat. That's right.
What's your cash app? Brother Michael said he'll be back because he has a
Okay, cool.
sharp break. But his question is, where do you find the time to do that work, and is that your job as an income? And I think you gave me your cash app. I'm gonna
Mhm.
go find it. Go ahead, Sister Christine.
Okay. Praise be to Allah. Well, we know
Oh,
time is something else, brother. Um, it's not an income thing for me.
mm,
My husband and I, praise be to Allah. We do own a farm, along with the 10,000 fearless first responders. We do have a restaurant. We want to have our own resources for our people. We want to make our own soup lines and so on and so forth. So that's what we do. And we own our own security company. So that is where our work lies, in those things. So whenever a disaster takes place or it's time for training, guess what? It's time to move. And when you can do for self, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, then you can move differently than when you can, than when you're stuck. And you got to keep asking permission to do right. When my minister said, you don't need permission to do right. You just got to get up in there and you got to move. And that's what we do. All praises due to Allah. We're free enough to be able to move across this great world and to be able to help our people whenever there is a need.
Thank Allah. Thank
Praise
Allah.
be to
We're blessed
Allah.
because of you all sacrifice and heart. Is that I had it Muhammad $ Muhammad Christina?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
I'll put that back. And he says, thank you, Sister Christina, as we get
Yes.
ready for Sister Danielle
Woo!
Silent Crimes Network. Oh, everybody spread the word.
Come
Stay with
on.
us
Come
and
on.
your questions. This sex trafficking, this abuse of Black women and girls and
Mm,
boys.
come on.
It's at an all-time high. But Sister Christina, your final remarks for now.
Yes. Praise be to Allah. Brothers and sisters, what I do want to say, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said the same dynamic that you have on one end will be the same dynamic on the other end. That's me paraphrasing. What I mean by this, I need you all to go and prepare for the winter. We look at this heat, this drought, everything on this end when it comes to summer and fall and all that kind of stuff. Brothers and sisters, it has been difficult. So the same strength that we had with this drought and all of this bad weather will soon find itself on the other side of the fence, meaning the winter. Think about record low temperatures. How will you weatherize your house? How will you stay warm? How will you make sure you can move around when it does get -20, -30? All them TV shows that we were looking at when we thought it was just a TV show. Yeah, it was in a mind somewhere. I'm just asking and pleading with all of us. Start looking into it, talking to your family. How will we prepare for the winter? Because the winter is upon us and Allah is not playing. So if he's not playing with the heat, I guarantee you he will not be playing with this winter. I love you all and thank you so much for allowing me, giving me the opportunity to teach and have somebody to listen to.
Oh, yeah, Sister Christina, thank you so much. I love you so much,
I
Brother
love
Reggie. Please give
you.
the greetings. And look, Big Brother Sultan is here, so I'm going to see if he would like to come in and say a word or two before
Praise
you
be
go,
to
Brother Sultan. Just nod if that's okay.
God.
All right, I'll open up this I
You
like.
all, please forgive me. I
Oh,
really had questions for my sister because what she's doing and what is being done is so significant and so important for us. And I'm coming in right at the end where I can hear some of the best I know of what she's saying.
yeah,
Mm,
And you know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to us not long ago, he said, get prepared for 2 or 3 weeks
come
of
on now.
snow
Come on.
and being locked in for two or
Woo.
three weeks under
Mm,
the snow. And if we have seen what has happened in Northern California,
my God.
if we have seen what has happened in Boston, where people literally had a tunnel out of their house
Come on. Come
with
on.
snow above them, dug a tunnel out.
Wow.
And I think it's so significant and important because I think of what I heard about the incident where there was a family and there was someone who was in the home and they were bedridden.
Mm,
And so there was a desire, maybe not to take them out just recently
mm,
in this storm. And then to learn that after one of the loving sisters called and beckoned them to do so, and they did move sister out of the house,
mm.
when they came back, not only did the tree fall, the tree fell on the bed.
Come on now. My goodness.
So we have so much to be thankful for.
Yes.
And we have to know by now, we have gotten through all of these.
Mm.
Although he did say we may one day be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Come on.
So we want to do our very best in our obedience to the God with what is going on and what is being said. When you say watch the weather,
Come on.
look, in Exodus, the 7th chapter, God makes Moses,
Come on.
a God over Pharaoh.
Mm.
Then he makes Aaron, Moses' prophet. Well, wait a minute now. So if we are the fulfillment of that, we're
Come on.
talking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan,
Come on.
who is, in fact, sometimes, if you find yourself just talking, you'll say, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan. Well, come on, one and the same.
Same.
But the point I want to make here is that Moses is in one place later on in the chapter.
Mm.
Aaron is in another place. They're not in the same place, but Moses is giving Aaron instructions.
Mm.
Does that remind you of anything?
Come on.
Our Father who art in where? Heaven. Well, how is he in the heavens?
Come on.
We're the only ones that can give true meaning to the Lord's Prayer. Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done where?
On
earth.
Come on.
And to think that he would take us and use us as the vanguard of the new world.
Mm.
Do not put yourself or see yourself, it keeps coming up. Do not put yourself or see yourself in any other position than the chosen of God.
Come on.
And we have to thank him, because with all that we have seen and all we have done, we have been overall very successful in all of this. And do not forget what he said. There will be no peace until this problem here in America is resolved.
Come on now.
Everything is about us. See? And so when we look at Libya, it has something to do with us.
Come on.
Huh? Yeah, that's got something to do with us.
Yes.
Well, we've been kind of personally involved in what was a wonderful situation with Brother Gaddafi. But it changed when somebody else came in. And they may have had a plan, and of course they did. That was 144 tons of gold, physical, 144 tons of silver, physical, second only to China. And here's a man who said he didn't say $1 billion. He said he would put the wealth of Libya behind the minister. Well, then you got traitors and all that. You got people who didn't like it from right there. So things happen. Then we look at an earthquake. Look at that earthquake. But the people of Northern Africa, I'm just making a point. These were black people.
That's right.
The true Egyptians, as the minister said, look at the Sudanese. They pushed them all south. Oh, my God. I'm so happy if I was a Sudanese that I was pushed south.
Come on.
In both Libya and in Tunisia. Oh, my God. Morocco. I'm sorry. I know somebody who had just left Morocco.
Come on.
Look.
Wow.
This is real. So what we have to do is we have to call on the God, because we're going to be near, around, in.
Yes.
And he's just going to show us how he will protect us in, around, whatever that may be.
Yes.
And we have to, look, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that we have to prepare and the value of what you're doing. You're not be a rocket scientist. Look at what's happening right here in America.
Come on now.
Look what's happening here in America.
Yes.
Shouldn't we be prepared? Because the time is going to come.
Come on.
And then there's the deep science. Oh, climate control. Well, ain't that right? There's some climate control.
Mm-hmm.
That's my father.
Come on now.
Road, all right.
That's my father controlling it.
Come on.
Big road.
And you're going to bow to that fact.
Come on.
That it is my father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's why you're seeing new things now. Because he's backed by a brand new God. And he's learning some new things himself because he's experimenting.
Yes, yes.
They're going to find out the reality of God and the reality of what they have earned themselves or what they have done. Because there's nothing in Scripture
Come on.
that describes what has been done to us. Oh, the Scripture kind of, well, they were hard taskmasters. They had to make brick out of straw.
Come on. Come on.
But you chopped us up when the military ships came during the slave trade and just threw us over the side to the sharks. The lynching that was done to us and is being done to us. I was listening to Brother Jabril early this morning, and he was talking about how the God had, oh my God, forgive me. Forgive me. Man, maybe I don't need to go into that. But, man. But the ultimate of it is, I should say, what I was thinking was if you look at what has been done to us.
Yeah.
He talked about the God during the time that for 50,000 years ago that he was talking about the red and the blue star.
Come on.
And then he talked about Shabazz, his decision to go to what we call the jungles of West Asia, as they call Africa.
Right.
Because he wanted to master. We come up out of those people who were there for 50,000 years. And then we were brought here for that 460 plus years. We are absolutely the toughest that have ever been made.
My God.
Oh, Allah, thank God for Satan. Because he is making a people.
Come on.
Who will master what was wrong.
Come on.
And will master that which was given expression from us.
Come on now.
It is us that we have been dealing with, and now we see what's wrong. We have been overwhelmed with what's wrong, and now we, in our struggle, we overwhelm it.
Come on.
To do what no others in history has done. That is the blessing of our time.
Man.
And what must be done, our time, and the significance of the brilliance that the God is showing of the woman in Islam. Look, hopefully you're talking about subject we got to talk about.
Great segue, Big Brother Sultan, because Danielle X Perkins is now joining us from the South. You with some Southern girls, even though I'm up in LA. Southern girls, but
oh God, I didn't even bow. I didn't even. Oh man, in the name of Allah, please allow me. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, who raised man from Hamtramck, picked somebody. He has made him all up into himself, made him a God. Now he fixes up another man for that man. And here that man is in front of us today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the messenger of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Messiah of them both.
That's right.
And he leaves and he comes back. You know, neither one gonna come back the same.
Come on now.
And guess what, y'all? They have all been working to get us. Who are you
Come
in
on.
the eyes of God? Who are we
Come
in
on.
the eyes of God?
Allahu Akbar.
That's a big question.
And what he is doing, and I'm watching and I'm learning with you.
Come on.
The original woman, raising you all to heights that the world will envy. See, remember what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said when his mother was working in the house, washing the dishes, and the woman who was employing his mother said, I wonder who his mother is.
Minister Farrakhan, the Jewish woman.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right. And remember now what they say. You're not a Jew unless what? Your mother is a Jew.
Come on. Wow.
Wow.
Hitler, his father was a Jew. Uh-oh. But his mother was not.
Wow.
Interesting.
We'll look a little deeper into that. But the point being, we can't be Muslim.
Come on now.
God,
Come on.
except that the mother is a Muslim.
Come on now. Wow.
Thank you.
Look at it. Not in a way of arrogance, but in a way that makes you want to submit even more
Come on.
to represent God,
Yes. Yes.
to help us to represent God. So you got a good title. You got a real good title.
That's right. Allahu Akbar.
It's an honor. It's an honor. God, I'm learning it's an honor from my wife. Because, boy, y'all coming out that class.
Come on now. Look.
Hey, y'all coming out that class now.
Oh, brother.
May Allah continue to bless us all. And I thank Allah. I greet you in the Arabic version. Peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. Praise be to
Thank you.
Allah.
Thank you for that,
Allahu
Brother
Akbar.
Sultan and Sister Christina. Thank you so much for bringing disaster preparedness, preparation, and insight to us. And as you can see, our beautiful sister Danielle X has arrived, and she's going to take us into silent crime. Yeah, so it's so good to see you both here in my beautiful color orange. And so, come back, please. Maybe we can do like just take one topic and a mini training in the future, just something that people can do and learn online.
Yes.
We'll make it a webinar and a registration and all of that good stuff.
There you go. Praise be to Allah. Thank you.
Will that be sisters only, or will we be able to get in on it too?
God, praise be to Allah. Let's go.
Yeah, we're right here. Thank you, Sister Christina.
Thank you, sis.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sister Danielle, Silent Crime, thank you for bearing patiently with us, with me. And Sister Danielle is going to be, I think we have another maybe 30, 35 minutes. So I want you to make this your presentation, and whatever we do not ask you, feel free to jump out with it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you so much. Tell us, what is silent crimes, first of all?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I want to say in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. I want to greet you all in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. I want to thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for laying the platform down for us to be able to do what we do, be confident in what we do and what we say based on his understanding, based on his guidance and his love for the people. I would be missed if I didn't mention the messenger of Allah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, for strategically teaching the minister what he knows, how he does what he does, and helping us as a nation to be able to build bigger than our own understanding. So with those two, and Allah himself, the Master Father Muhammad, I want to greet you all in some humbling words. Those that don't understand what that means, peace be unto you. Greetings. I'm Sister Danielle X here in Dallas, Texas, Muhammad Mosque number 48. And I want to break down what is Silent Crimes. Silent Crimes is a nonprofit organization, and we help women, girls, children, males, sometimes young men too, to be able to face or bring awareness and prevention to sex trafficking, human trafficking, organ harvesting, molestation, and domestic abuse. We have women that may be trying to get away from their attacker, their abuser, they need help. Women who need help with buying Pampers for their children, school clothes, help getting a birth certificate or an ID. We help to make those things happen. We help to bring counseling or auditing to women who have gone through some things, some girls who have gone through some things and can't really get past the hump in their life. The key ends are there. They're not able to understand their worthiness or their life, their purpose on this planet. So we help them to rise above their emotions, gain some wins to be able to build up their self-esteem and to look at themselves in the mirror and say that I am God. So we go in the schools, churches, community centers, homes, help women with their hotel accommodations, flights, bus fares, to be able to get away from a very harmful and dangerous environment. Again, we definitely take this mission very serious, and learning now too, there's a lot of MGT that are going through things. So we definitely strategically go through with a fine-tooth comb to be that example for them and to be that helper for them in their time of need. So yes, ma'am.
Wow, thank you. How did you get into this type of work? This is between you and Christina, my God. Ooh, this is
Yes, ma'am. Silent Crimes was based out of an idea. Watching the girls in Dallas and the school system of DISD, Lancaster ISD, and they have needs, and they need a listening ear, someone to genuinely listen to. So when we were going to the schools, I was hearing stories, and going to the apartment complexes, and I'm hearing stories about girls who are being sold for sex. And at that moment of time, I began to start digging, and I asked my student minister, Brother Student Minister Shahid, what do I do with this information? And he tells me, you're the perfect person to be able to do it. Just do what Allah has put on you to do, sister. And I did just that. I began to start researching, and lo and behold, that Texas is number 2 in the US for trafficking, and Dallas is number 2 in the state of Texas for trafficking, and that Dallas has the number 1 youth homelessness rate in Dallas. So all those pieces go together to help build up the nonprofit organization as well.
wow. Wow, I'm floored. Brother Sultan, did you hear that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And again, that's why, even in just the topics and what I had already learned from our sisters, that we have something that is so significant and so important. Human trafficking in America. I looked into something, and it says that the United States is again ranked as one of the worst countries in the world for human trafficking, according to a recently released report by the State Department. The top 3 nations of origin for victims of human trafficking in 2018 were the United States, Mexico, and the Philippines. Now, we know, of course, what has happened already to us. I mean, the most trafficked people of all has been 150 to 200 million of us already. Have you looked into, or are there any, and I know I'll ask the second part of the question if I can.
Yes, sir.
Documentation on why this kind of trafficking is going on and how it benefits and how it's used. I want to ask that question first,
Yes, sir.
and then I'll tell you why I asked the question. Go ahead, please.
Well, we can go back to 1555 in the first trafficking moment, for us to be able to go through what we've gone through, being traded off involuntarily, coming to a country, we were forced to do things we did not want to do and still don't want to do. Trafficking is a $1 trillion industry, and it grows every day because people's appetite, like I said earlier to someone earlier, that people's appetite has gone berserk. And so the ways they start to pick up this appetite is beyond our understanding, our liking, I would say. Television, radio, clothing, social media, friendships, it gets out of control. And so we begin to start taking on other people's ways. And I said it earlier too, that looking at a person's nature, understanding their nature, for them is fun. And they find entertainment in trafficking children. They find entertainment in organ harvesting, taking your organs, selling the organs, eating your organs, drinking your blood, sick ways. So, and it's not just the common Ray Ray and Pookie and Day Day and them in the hood and Keisha and them in the hood. We're dealing with people who have money, who buy people. Epstein had a whole island of people that were being sold to people that had money. We didn't have access to these behaviors and this activity. The Super Bowl is a great example. Super Bowls and concerts where these children are being taken and women being taken and being sold for not no chimp change. So to answer your question, brother, not to go too far off the edge, but when you're dealing with trafficking, you're dealing with a sick mind and people that find entertainment and pleasure, and they want to lessen you and bring you to their level to feed their appetite.
Yes, sir. Now I want to ask, do you see any difference in trafficking and what went on during slavery?
Okay, you talking about a sister or a child who's being kidnapped at a grocery store, right? Being kidnapped from school, a concert, the playground. They're being taken, thrown in a car or a trunk or a van or whatever vehicle is used. They're being drugged or beat. They're being forced to have sexual activity with multiple men a day. Some women are breeders and are forced to have babies in trafficking. You have women who are recruiters who are forced to recruit for submission. You have women, I've talked to girls at the age of 10 who were being beat and assaulted by police officers, lawyers, judges, doctors. So to answer that question, that of course the horrific behavior or activity that was done during the slavery time, we're still in the condition now. It never been fixed or healed. Now it's being amplified and being thrown on us as if we have to accept it as the normal, and it's not normal. Then you have those who are pedophiles who want us to agree to their pedophilic behavior. And you're odd if you don't agree with the sex trafficking. You're odd if you don't agree with the communities that are being built in our eyes right in front of us, and we're being forced to accept it. So to me, it's a bigger, greater grade of trafficking versus slavery. It's the same, just in it's a different level of it. And it's sickening because I can see the enemy taking on what they created then and finding ways to be smarter, wiser, intelligent, artful in their devilish behavior. Now we're on a whole different level.
So, would you agree then that this is only a continuation of what's been going on here for 500 years? It's just that now there seems to be a loose
Mm-hmm.
title
Mm-hmm.
given to it when you get busted,
Yes.
and only when you get busted.
Yes. And even when you get busted, you have these sex rings, you have these places that children are being kept in basements or even in bedrooms, hotel rooms. They have built in your hotel. We don't really look at that, but in your hotel room, there's hidden closets in your closet. There's basement bunker areas under your bed. If you move your bed, you'll be able to lift this door, and they hide children in that. The same thing with the slave ships, hiding the merchandise. So if someone happens to come in here, we don't want to be exposed, but we don't care at the same time. And so let me go ahead and pay the hotel money to be quiet. Same thing. Let me pay the housekeeping. Let me pay the chefs. Let me pay off the general manager of the hotel. Let me just go ahead and pay you all off and give me 5 hotel rooms to use, unlimited access. You may see some children come through here tied up on chains. It may be a little alarming to you, but don't panic because I paid you under the table. It's the same thing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's what I was getting at. That we don't think that this is something that's so unusual.
Hmm.
This is merely a continuation.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
let me ask this. In watching the news, you watch different, we're going to Italy and Brussels, you'll find uh, people from Chad, they're coming from the continent,
Mm-hmm.
and they will come from Ghana or wherever they may come from, and they're going across the water
Yes.
to what they have heard about the life of the European and
Mm-hmm.
how well that life is, and to get there and become a part of that life.
Mm-hmm.
But have we, and I'm going to ask that same question about our borders. Do you know of anyone that asked the question is, why do these people keep coming? And then when they get there, well, some, of course, as you know, boats have come up missing with 100 people, 200 people, 300 people that's crossing the Mediterranean. But why and how are they getting the idea to go, yet at the same time they have no idea what they'll be treated like going over? And then I want to start with our border after that.
In other countries, they're told this is the American dream. When you come here, you have job opportunities, you have the education for women who are not able to read. You can go to America and learn how to read and do math and have this excellent lifestyle. You get the luxury homes and the beaches, and they give this vision that America is this great place. And so when they get here, it's a shock and awe, right? It's a shock of the hour because it's not what they say it's going to be. I think about the people, and you mentioned Chad, you mentioned, well, for me, it'd be the Asian countries, and they're giving us false hope to come here. And they're even in those individual countries, they are told too, if you give me your kidney, I pay you $1,000 to pay, I'll buy your kidney. And you broke, they don't have the resources in these third world countries sometimes, a lot of times. So they sell their organs, and they wake up on the operating table with a kidney missing, they all stapled together and their organ is gone, but there's no money. In America, it's so many things that we take for granted, being that we are mistreated as a original people. We are mishandled. They come up with so many different laws. And so for us, we want to be treated fair. That's all we want. Can we just get some fairness out of the deal? You got Mexicans, the red community, that are able to go and purchase meat markets and be able to open up flea markets and bazaars and clothing stores, all that opportunity off of one word. I'm from a different country. We've been here since day one and don't get the same opportunities as that, let alone we're in broken homes, right? We got motels in our community that's prostituting women in our communities. We have drug selling. We have the trap houses in our communities. Our school system is horrible. They don't have proper supplies, books, tables, food to feed the children that go to school. So when it comes to this activity, people come here to be free, but they're snatched, and vice versa. You have people who go to other countries for a family vacation or a getaway or a girls' night out and never come back home because you were based on a false hope. I'm gonna go get away. Me and my homegirls gonna go kick it. And you go to a foreign country where you can't speak their language, and you got men who are guiding you to your hotel, and now you snatch. Now you're missing. So again, like I say, it's the false hope that's given to us that's not a reality. Either way.
Yes, ma'am. Now, let's take a look at our borders. You have people coming from as far away as Colombia, Peru, and there's the expectation of these people that they're going to get to heaven in America. Raping on the way, murder on the way, on their way here, and then they get here and find out the American people don't want them here. I want to go back to this question. How are they and all the others getting the idea to come? And where can they get that idea except that the great communicator? They control the airwaves, they control the television. Where else could these people get the idea to come to America? Go to France. Go to these countries where they are treated the way they are when they arrive, except somebody is helping to send them here and send them there. And what then are we looking at? As
you have, yeah. Yes, sir. You have those. Think about it. There was a point in time where many people wanted to go to Belize. It's a big thing about going to Carnival. You know, oh my God, I want to go there. People want to go to Puerto Rico. It's a highlight. And so they have commercials on television. They have commercials on the radio, and they're promoting this big thing, you know. And for them, they're told, if you go to America, you're gonna get all of this. You know, it's a free place where you can be able just to be who you want to be. You want to be gay, you can be gay. You know, you want to eat pork, you can be a Muslim, and you want to taste some pork, some bacon, you can get away with it in America. You don't have to wear your hairpiece no more. You want to roll you up a blunt, you want to smoke some weed, you want to do whatever you want to in America, it can happen. It's no problem. And they get here, and again, it's not the way that they visioned it or how it was promoted to them. They weren't given that part of it. So when they get here, they're stuck. They feel stuck and obligated. And it's interesting for us because, again, we're not treated. We've never been told we were going to be treated correctly. We never got any false hope or any false dream. We were brought here involuntarily. And they were being mistreated still to this day. When it comes to trafficking, I would say that when women go to these vacations and these other islands and countries, Virgin Islands, Jamaica, Hawaii, make sure you're traveling with people that you know. And if you can't, well, right now, believers, you know, we can't. We've been told not to do certain things right now by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is our mercy and grace and our protector, right? So in that, going to other countries is so much happening and so much sex trafficking happening, so much organ harvesting happening that we can't even fathom the wiles of Satan. Because they have a bigger agenda than us. We are nothing but merchandise. When you say when you get all dressed up in your nice suit, you say, man, I feel like I'm worth $1 million. You are literally worth $1 million. Your kidneys, your liver, your teeth, your hands, your fingers, skin, your melanin called. They take your melanin from you, inject it in their body, and they call it the fountain of youth for them. So going to other countries is not always the safe thing. I think it'd be best if those are in other countries to just stay where they are right now. Because right now no one's safe to go anywhere. Stay in your own space.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what?
Now, yes.
Well, Brother Sultan, go ahead and continue because this is
Yes, ma'am.
my heart. My heart.
Yeah, we're after something. We're after something. So here in Chicago, some of the young girls and women have been raped in the police stations where they stay. What benevolent city would be so benevolent as to allow them to stay at the police station? They're so concerned. And then Chicago is considered to be, what do they call it? For immigration? Sanctuary.
Mm. Mm.
So this is as it appears, all this is set up.
Mm.
There's a reason why people are coming from South America, coming from Mexico,
Wow.
looking for heaven.
Mm.
Would they come, do you think, if they knew what the reality of coming here is?
No.
You know, as you both continue with the dialogue, what you bring up, both of you, is many families still don't know where their children are. Remember?
No, man.
That's right.
They don't.
Masses of them came over from South America, and they showed the image of our little brown brothers and sisters in these, well, they were not aluminum, but they were in cages.
Yes, ma'am.
Basic blankets, but these children are missing. Many of them still missing.
Yes, ma'am.
But Brother Sultan, you're doing an excellent job. I'm triggered, so let me just go. Continue.
No.
But I
that's another point.
want to mention something too, Brother Sultan, that for those that don't you wouldn't know, but during the Hurricane Katrina, I had a niece that was there on the ground when the levees were broken. And she said, T, that when the levees were broken, I heard this real loud noise. And a big wave of water came over us. And those who could not swim drowned. She said it was bodies everywhere in the street, Sister Charlene. There was bodies everywhere. So as the buses began to start going in different directions, mind you, in the Superdome, it was no power in the Superdome. And they were telling them, hey, come in for safety here. We're going to be here. But at nighttime, when your child has to use the restroom, there's no light in the bathroom. There was men in the bathrooms raping the children and the mothers. There was, because again, even though the flooding happened and the power is out, you got pedophiles running around. You got murderers running around. That has not changed. It actually got worse. Okay. Women were telling me that they was going to the restroom with their daughters, and it was men sitting on the stalls in the bathroom. So as they began to start pushing people on these buses to go to different places, some buses came to Dallas. My former captain, Sister Captain Kim Muhammad, the brothers were out there with us in the FOI, were there. And I can remember standing on the sidewalk as the buses pulled up, and you had Chick-fil-A pull up, you had clothing stores pull up, you had people coming to render aid to a situation that's beyond our control. Like, oh, Allah. So in that, we were there to help supply with diapers, pacifiers, clothes, wipes, whatever we had there. The state trooper pulled their gun out, shotgun, If you all come off that sidewalk, I'm going to shoot you on spot. Exact words. So we could not come off the sidewalk. The buses came. A woman said, "What day of the week is it?" We were like, wow. She said, "I don't know what day, what time it is. I haven't seen no indication of any of that for days." And so we helped what we could do from a distance. They had them set up for washing showers and whatnot. I'm going somewhere with this. That weekend, they had a big setup downtown Dallas, and they had different vendors, different organizations, and they had a man with a black suit on, a black hat, and a microphone on a stage. And this man said, "I have a black woman about 5'5", 3 children, and they have nowhere to live." White people in the audience, and they were auctioning off our people, okay? Right before our very eyes. So, and as this is happening, the believers are looking like, what in the heck is going on, right?
What?
We uncomfortable. We are totally uncomfortable. We're here to help, but we are uncomfortable.
What?
Yes, ma'am. There were children that were taken in by these individuals for trafficking right in front of us. You got the city council there. You got the mayor there. You have a lot of people who are there. Police officers, lawyers, doctors. Oh yeah, I have space in my house. I have room for 3 children, preferably in this age range.
That's right.
So my point in saying that, going off of what Brother Sultan was saying, that it's happening right before our very eyes. And we are so numb to so much. And we are a hurt people that have not gotten the proper healing that we need from our past. And in that, we see something, we don't say anything because we're used to not being treated properly. We become immune to being treated incorrectly. So trafficking is happening at an ultimate high. And I know that boots on the ground is the best solution to that, to be involved in what we see when it comes to voting in our cities. We think our vote does not count, but if there's a vote about girls and boys using the same restroom, and if you don't vote it, and then when a law is passed, you miss it. California just passed a law last month, Sister Charlene, about trafficking happening, and no punishment will happen to a trafficker. Did you know that?
No. I'm going
Last
right
month
now.
they voted, yes, and they voted in that if a trafficker is seen with from 2 to 5, 10 to 15 girls, that he will never do a day in prison for trafficking.
Yes.
That wasn't for us. That was for them.
That's
And one thing about the enemy, they make a law and they find a way to backdoor their own law for themselves.
I'll be back.
question. Mayor Nagin, were you in New Orleans?
No, I was in Dallas.
At the time, but you obviously knew someone there.
I was in Dallas.
You were in Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Did you know anyone in New Orleans, or did you try to go? Or
yes, I knew some people there.
I heard the passion of someone that you knew. I thought.
No, I had a niece. My niece, and my nephew were there in New Orleans. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I could feel that coming from you. Now, Mayor Nagin said that there was some evidence of explosions. But this happened in 1927. And
yes.
blacks were then used. They were either going to fill the levee with dirt, or they were going to fill the levee with their bodies after they blew the levee.
Yes, sir.
there were reports coming out, and which is why one of the reasons I was concerned, that they heard explosions
Mm-hmm.
in Libya.
Yes.
I don't know if the heavier population of blacks from the South
Mm-hmm.
that were in Libya who were really being treated very, very badly after
Yes.
Gaddafi,
Yes, sir.
and who it is that these thousands washed out into the Mediterranean.
Yes, sir.
So it's not a coincidence, or what you think it is, that you would have that in New Orleans, black population,
Mm-hmm.
Ninth Ward flooded out, people drowned, Cubans trying to send people to help us, and they refused the help of the Cubans,
Yes, sir.
who have been the biggest aiders in Central and South America after disasters, who are the
Mm-hmm.
best prepared, and who have trained out of the love of their people of how to save their own people, and therefore have been successful in saving others. But it appears that whenever the West is present and the Cubans volunteer their help is rejected. Do you think that this is just a coincidence?
Minister Ava, may Allah be pleased with her, used to always emphasize nothing happens by coincidence. Nothing. And we are taught that there's nothing new under the sun. They repeat the same thing over and over and over again, looking for different results. And sometimes it can be worse, sometimes equal than, but there's nothing, even with the Haiti situation, that was revenge with the French for a war that they lost many years ago. So they always try to do things to harm people. Even with Hawaii being documented that it was burned intentionally, that's happened before. And it's all about money to build and make what their vision is to be a reality. So they will kill people at the cost and loss. They don't care about losing their own to prove a point, to do something that they really want to do. So no, I don't believe that nothing at that is coincidental at all, sir.
It's interesting that you mentioned, from your mentioning Maui, Hawaii. In
Yes.
1976, it was the 200th anniversary of the American Revolution.
Yes, sir.
And so what, I think it was NAC, whatever station Barbara Walters was on,
NBC.
they took a week in that year, starting with the first state, working all the way through to the 50th week, which was Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What I will never forget, and I was just in the world at the time, what I will never forget was Barbara Walters saying, when she mentioned Hawaii, she said, "Oh, well, we killed half of the Hawaiians with syphilis."
Wow.
That was said on public television.
Wow.
I have not been able to find it or get it. I've so when we look at that, when we look at Haiti, all of Europe hates Haiti
Yes,
because
sir.
of the defeat.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at, again, those coming across the border, what are some of the other uses that you may know of or have heard of that may be the reason or among the reasons that this bringing new people in benefits?
Thank you.
They,
And Sister
yeah.
Danielle, to answer, you can also tack on your closing remark because she has to take leave. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. People are coming here. I think about these movies, the apocalyptic movies and these vampire movies, and they never create a movie or make a movie without clear intent. And they make it into this animated, nasty, gory looking situation, but it's a mask in that movie that we oftentimes will miss. Independence Day, for example, I'll just go back for those. You know, they made it like this mother wheel, this big machine, and it's going to be evil aliens coming out and all of that. But at the end of the day, the mother wheel is a reality, right? You have these movies where they have certain diseases and coming out, and they make it seem so animated. Even in cartoons, they put in a cartoon form, and it's a real situation happening. It's going to happen in that, and they're gauging us to see how we respond to certain things. If we're going to ignore it, okay, whatever. You know, are we going to be like stuck in binge watching this show? When it comes to them having these people come from their country here, I believe that because you're talking about depopulation, but you keep bringing people over here. We have no room, no space, no food to grow food, and we don't have chickens being producing milks, and you know we got all these problems. But you keep having other countries come into our space, or you know, our space. I would say that clear. But at the same time, there's bunkers everywhere being built. And there's people coming up missing like clockwork all day. Are there experiments being ran on them? Are they testing out certain diseases on them? Again, nothing happens by coincidence because they're unmarked people. They have no birth certificate. They have no social security card. They have no residency here. So we can run as many experiments as we want on them. Who's going to know? Who you going to tell? So I don't underestimate the enemy at all. I don't fear them, but I never will underestimate how dirty and grimy and evil that a person can be in that nature. And the Honorable Miss Lewis Farrakhan said, don't hate them. Don't hate them because you understand their nature. That's them. So when you have things happening, you're like, oh my gosh. I'm not even surprised. Because again, you can't fathom the wiles of Satan. They're thinking. So to have people come over here and to be these guinea pigs, the COVID virus is getting worse all of a sudden, but they're not really talking about how bad it really is already. So they're testing out certain things, certain diseases, certain foods, certain poisons, unmarked people. And when they get the right mixture, the right potion, then they'll give our people, the common people, the average person, that dose. So to have them come over here is not coincidental to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
So,
Sister Danielle, thank you. Thank you very much. Would you please come back and do some more Q&A with us? I asked Sister Christina to do it as well.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to share with you all too, those who are listening to my voice. I would like to say that if you know someone who is being abused, if you know someone who wants to get away from their trafficker and does not know how to do it, they need resources. And I want you to understand that it's never your fault. I don't care what they tell you. You're stupid, you're ignorant, you're lazy, you'll never be something. Don't believe that. If the God allow you to breathe right now, your purpose has not been fulfilled yet. So don't give up. Contact me, 972-388-1300, 972-388-1300, or you can contact me via email if that's safer for you, at Silent Crimez with a Z, Silent Crimez, CRIMEZ, network at gmail.com. If you need help resourcing to be able to get back on your feet, or you just need a person to talk to about your pain, you're not by yourself. So contact me and my team will be able to assist you in what you need. If you're in a different state, it's okay. We'll find We have networking people in different locations to be able to get you what you need. But know that you're not by yourself. Know that you are loved and appreciated. And all the gifts that you have, we're going to help you gain some wins and get back to life. It's not the end for you. So thank you.
Thank you. Sister Charlene, may I just say one quick thing?
You got it, brother.
My sister, you know, because what she's saying is so important, but we don't want to think ever that all these people that are coming in are our enemies. The
Yes.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad has already told us how this thing
Yes, sir.
is going to end.
Yes, sir.
Whether we know it or not, some of these will be our great friends.
Yes, sir.
And we just have to step up a little bit as the ministry is working on us to do.
Yes, sir.
That we see what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, and then we begin to take advantage with those who are coming here and that they are bringing here.
Yes, sir.
They will serve God's purpose.
Yes, sir. And I say all general orders are in effect, sir.
Yes,
All of them.
ma'am.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, you all.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, Sister Danielle.
Yes,
Brother Sultan, I don't know what thank you, Sister Yolanda. I want to say thank you, Sister Attorney Yolanda Muhammad, for allowing your husband to participate with us, because Brother Sultan, I could not handle this interview today. You had to carry this.
Praises be to Allah.
You know, we're talking about coming off of I'm in the wake of an assignment for the Final Call newspaper dealing with our beautiful young sisters in Los Angeles in our community who were killed in their high-rise luxury apartments in downtown Los Angeles, you know. And yeah, so that's something, you know, to hear this and her appeal to those at her voice. I'll put the information back up that she gave in terms of if you can hear someone, you know, this is her information, you know. But go ahead, Brother Sultan. I just wanted to express gratitude.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You know,
remarks. We got 3 minutes.
I'm so grateful to our sister,
yes,
to both of them really, because they're both dealing with critical issues. But this issue that we're dealing with when we start talking about trafficking and all of that goes along with what's been going on for the last 4.5, almost 500 years. And what it is that we have to see is that this isn't something extra. This isn't something that has not been happening, but it is the God showing us what is going on, the truth of it, and what we must do. This is not a light issue. This issue easily touches all of us, and it has already touched all of us in the families that we have bloomed into today. So it is real, and it is a reality, and this is not something, and Sister makes it so clear, it's not something that's only happening to other people. This has been going on, and it's going to go on until God, with the help that we can do to help, ends it. And it is headed to its end.
That's right. And thank you for saying that, Brother Sultan. I too thank a lot for Sister Danielle and Sister Christina and their teams, their families. Look, what you said before she left, thank you for mentioning that as well. He has told us, look, this is their land. And our brothers and sisters are going to get their land back. It was taken from them unjustly. They're going through pardon my French, but a heck of a thing, you know, in their trek to make it back home. And my heart just goes out. I just do not forget the images and, you know, of how they're treated, you know, but we were together but for them in our enslavement, you know, in terms of the kinship and the family and the unification that we have. You know, do you recall recently there was something in, I forgot which part of the U.S.-Mexico border, but these big orange contraptions that had, go ahead, brother. You know what I'm talking about, right?
And I think they had barbed wire on them.
Yeah, they caused damage. You know, someone says they're living their best life in the DMV. That's for sure. But I digress. I'm sorry, DMV. I'm not sure. I missed something because I gotta be honest. I've been in my feelings with Sister Danielle and even Sister Christina. I was wrapping my head around. But let's see. This is a comment. Everyone don't know general orders. What are some general orders you can share to the women listening here who are not in the Nation of Islam? Thank you for that question. Um, there are very specific instructions. I won't be able to share any of them here because they are nation specific. So Sister Danielle was, of course, speaking to those. Although the show is open for everyone, she was, making sure that we remember those in the Nation of Islam about that. But these are things that are protectionary measures, sister. And if you would like, I'll put my email there and you can learn more about the women in the Nation of Islam and the Nation of Islam. But Brother Sultan, would you please take the last 2 minutes for closing remarks because we're about a minute over time and I want to be mindful of that these days.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I just want to say again, there's something in all of this that we see. There's something in what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is doing uh, in his work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with the sisters of the nation, with the brothers of the nation. We are people who may not have the great confidence, including myself, that we should. And when you look at, let me just tell you this about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I generally have asked Brother R several times about his meeting the minister when he was going to speak at the school where he was in 1978 or 79. And when he went out to get him, the minister came across the campus by himself. Now we know he made his decision in September of 1977 to rebuild the Nation of Islam. He starts by himself and with, of course, Brother Jabril. So he's traveling here, traveling there, speaking here, speaking there. They had different sales in different cities where he would speak to this group and that group. Brother Jabril, they would speak in these different groups, and they didn't know of each other. Work. A brother told me that in Oakland, that in 1980 he came to Oakland. He said that this brother got out of the taxi and he didn't know who he was, and the brother just went into the mosque. He said all he knew was that when that man came out, everybody came out of the mosque with him. I'm saying that to say this. Many of us in the nation know how or know that this man has grown from being by himself and Brother Jabril. Look how God has blessed him. Look at the responsibility of a man who was by himself, now not just with the nation here, but with believers around the world. Quietly, and some are a little more noisy. But those who have heard him, you can hear it coming from them around the world in their approaches. We are a blessed people. And if I would look at where he has come from to bring me, those before me, those after me, the one or two that I may have gotten, the one or two you have gotten, or when we had those, the greater fishes can bring more. Look how we have grown. Is this not a miracle? Look at the Million Man March. Was that not a miracle? You call 1 million, 2 million come, then they arrive in a city that had 8 to 9 people dying every weekend from Friday to Monday. Now God adds 2 million is there's not one murder, not one death as a result of black on black violence. But God added 2 million. We can't see that God is behind this, man. So our sister helped us with what Sister Ava's been saying, separation. So we have to work to that. So don't fear all these people who are coming. Those are our people. Why don't I just go after them too? Why don't we just go after our people? And let's bring them, and I'm talking to myself, let's bring them so they can hear what I've had the benefit of hearing, what I have the benefit of bearing witness to. Even if you're not so convinced of what it is that you've been hearing, bring the people so they could just hear that. And maybe the one you bring one day can help you to see clearer. Because all we can ever know is that when we're looking at the black woman, looking at the black man, we're looking at God. He said he has never seen one of us in which he did not see God. What would it be like if I was like that? What would it be like if you were like that? All of what these shows are here to do is to help us to become better, do better, live better. So I thank you, my dear Sister Charlene, for allowing me to co-host on these shows, all of them that we see. All of them. You can't have too many of these. I'm telling these young people, I guess you've been hanging out with young people. These young people got them going all over the place.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm going to have to, work towards that 16 so I can hang with them.
Me too.
I thank Allah for them. I thank Allah for you. I thank Allah for what He has given us that we might have life and have it more abundantly.
That's right. All praises due to Allah, and likewise for you, Brother Sultan. And thank you. So here's a comment. Brother Brian agrees with you. Brian E. Muhammad, this is our great staff writer for the Final Call newspaper, Brother Brian. Thank you for tuning in, Brother Brian. I know you're so busy. Yeah. So, Brother Sultan, what I would do is I'll put some images up. I think maybe the flyer, and post up some of the comments, and you and I can go on out and let's see what some of the people have shared. Thank you all for tuning in. On behalf of everyone here tonight, I'll say if it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's do something about it. And as you can see, our panel definitely is. And thank you also, Brother Sultan, for reminding us, as did some of our sisters here tonight, of the words and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the guidance and the great leadership, oh my God, the divine leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So that's our presentation for tonight. Brother Sultan, next week.
Yes, ma'am.
Inshallah.
Yes, ma'am.
Brother R. Vince Muhammad will be back with the Bearing of Witness Part 2. And everyone, bring your images, your photographs. Email us at liberatedsisters@gmail.com. And any questions or comments you may have with that for Brother Sultan, send them, and we'll make sure that he gets them, and our guests as well. So, Brother Sultan, again, thank you so much. And Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Everyone, I'm going to post some of your comments. And so if you want to stay tuned and hear some music, I think we'll play something by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let's do that. And here's a flyer of our panel again tonight. Assalamu alaikum.
Everybody join in this melody. That's the only way we're gonna be free. Everybody singing this sweet refrain. Sing this melody till it gets in your brain. Well, I'm talking to you, Muslim, Christian, and the Hebrew. Anything to do, we got to unite, or else we are through. Everybody singing this sweet refrain. Sing this melody till it gets in your brain. Everybody singing this melody. That's the only way we're gonna be free. They're united in Ghana, Mali, and Nigeria. All over Africa, the people are getting together. They're even uniting in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and Angola. And Crimez vision will light the world over from Cape to Cairo, one Africa. Everybody singing this sweet refrain. Sing this melody till it gets in your brain. Come on, do it tonight. Brothers and sisters, let us unite. Bam, bam,